Hey guys, Stitches here, and welcome back to some more Beyblade Day Battle Fest for 2025. And these next 5 battles I've already pre-picked, so they're kind of just sitting off screen. But the next 5 battles are actually going to be between what are called Echo Beyblades. As far as I know, the term Echo, I think mainly comes from it's like a borrowed term from the Smash Brothers community. Sorry about that small interruption. The term Echo is a borrowed term, I believe, from the Smash Brothers community. In Super Smash Brothers, there is a concept called Echo Fighter, which is a fighter whose moves or programming is based directly on another character. A good example of this is Roy and Marth, who are functionally the same character, but have some slight different mechanics. Ryu and Roy. And so Echo Beyblades are very similar. So I've sort of lined up a few Beyblades that I've researched and are actually Echoes, if they're not obvious immediately. So most of these Beyblades will have the same parts, if not have the same tip. In fact, I think this matchup is the only one where the tips aren't the same, meaning that the bays are actually going to clash because they're going to want to compete for the same goal. At least that's the idea. Here's a little different, though. So, on the left, we have Horn Rhino, aka Rhino Horn. Rhino Horn 360. No, not 360. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm a little distracted. It's Horn Rhino 380 Spike versus Bear Scratch 560 Flat. So this one's interesting because these bays are two different types entirely. I personally feel like Bear Scratch leans more into the benefits of the design, though, than Horn Rhino does. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take an up-close look. So the first bay we have here is none other than Rhino Horn 380 Spike. Rhino Horn and also Bear Scratch have this sort of cross plus shaped pattern, or almost like a square shaped pattern with the corners here removed. Or you could say it's kind of octagonal with dips on these sides. Really just how you want to quantify it. These dips on each side can cause for some pretty good smash attacks, but the idea is that the thickness and its compact shape is supposed to help with defense. I think in the same idea that Drasil was supposed to be that way. But unfortunately, Horn Rhino is kind of imbalanced. You can see here there are 3 plastic parts, but not on this side here. You can also see there's these 3 metal weights, but here it kind of, it's lighter here, but heavier here. So, it's a little weird. Feels a little wild, which is supposed to be the idea with the Team Zuganic Beyblades. This was used by a character in the anime named Jian Strong. I think her name is Poncho or something in Japanese. The 380 ratchet's a high-profile version of the 3 ratchet. Mine's kind of damaged a little bit. You can see some plastic bruising. And the spike bit is like the needle bit, but it is much, much smaller. You can see rather than just kind of extending out to here, they kind of tapered off down here to make it have minimal contact with the stadium. The spike bit is not very good, and thus Horn Rhino in stock is kind of mid. But next up, we have Bear Scratch. Bear Scratch, you can see, has some slight molding differences of the metal to try to make it a little more aggressive and a little less round. Bear Scratch came with the double Xtreme set, funnily enough, and you can even see it's got some glittery plastic to it to make it all special. I think it's one of the few Beyblades to actually feature glitter in the plastic. Comes on the 560 ratchet, a low-profile version of the 5 ratchet, and it comes on this flat bit. Additionally, it's got this nice orange color scheme to it. This Beyblade kind of exists similar to Archer Herculeo from the Metal Fight series, where it exists mainly to show off a stadium. Oh, also really quick before I switch, these divots actually do help with big smash attacks when it comes to attacking. Sorry about that clearing throat thing. My throat's a little dry. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the battles. Also, I'm sorry if the angle is slightly different. I did have to move my tripod. Or not my tripod, but like I had to remove my recording setup, which is kind of why I don't know how many more we'll actually do. Also, just because of the fact that the month is coming to an end and I plan to end the Battle Fest after March 31st. As per usual, we'll be going through the Dynamite Stadium, the Hasbro Xtreme Stadium, which I think my Xtreme line is popping out of, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just the angling is a little weird. And I'll be using the string launcher. Starting in the Dynamite Stadium, it uses a rule set similar to Burst, so knockouts and survivor finishes are each 1 point, whereas Burst finishes are 2, and Xtreme finishes just aren't possible in this stadium. Additionally, going over the top still counts as a knockout. Due to its solitary disposition, or solitary disposition, it's what am I trying to say? Stationary disposition. I will be launching Horn Rhino first and then Bear Scratch second. And as usual, each round is going to be best of 5. Or first 2 5, so it's a best of 9. 3, 2, 1. Bear Scratch really just missed that entire attack there. But we'll see, because Horn Rhino does not have good stamina. It's a little too... its weight distribution just isn't good for stamina. And definitely not on Spike. And there we go. Bear Scratch claims the first point with a survivor finish. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, it yielded itself there. Only to miss and then not come back. Yeah, this is part of the issue with the Dynamite Stadium, is it's a little big for these guys. Especially because this was designed for the Dynamite Beyblades, which are some of the biggest Beyblades in history. But yeah, we can see there that Horn Rhino just kind of crashed itself out against the stadium. So the score is now Bear Scratch 2 to Horn Rhino 0. seems like Bear Scratch actually isn't going to Tornado Stall this time, so it's probably going to lose. Yep, just barely. So Horn Rhino gets its first point, putting Horn Rhino at 1, Bear Scratch is at 2. Also, if you guys are curious why I keep grabbing onto the stadium, some bays when they tornado stall are actually heavy enough to cause stadium sliding. As far as I know, it's not an intentional thing for the stadium to slide. So I literally just grab it because I don't want the stadium to slide and potentially get knocked off. I think that's Horn Rhino's win. And I also don't want it to get knocked out of frame. Scores 2-all. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Ooh. Bear Scratch almost got knocked out by Horn Rhino there. So imbalanced, it just does not work as a stamina type. So the score is Bear Scratch 3 to Horn Rhinos 2. Let's see if this match can go any faster. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Oh, Bear Scratch is going to lose stamina doing that. Not tornado stalling, but is yielding at the top there. Ooh. That was a good attack by Bear Scratch there. That kind of just shows how Bear Scratch, even at low spin, can deal those heavy smash attacks you want from attack types. Anyway, the score is now Bear Scratch 4 to Horn Rhinos 2. Bear Scratch just needs one singular point of any kind to win. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Bear Scratch, that's not how you tornado stall, like, that's how you crash out against the wall. So maybe Bear Scratch is intentionally trying to lose spin. But the answer is probably not. I probably just gave it a bad launching window. The score is now Bear Scratch 4 to Horn Rhinos 3. So now Horn Rhino is actually back in the running potentially. 3, 2, 1, go. And it seems like this is going to be Bear Scratch's win. Yeah, Horn Rhino just, I think the spike bit just isn't very good on it. And unfortunately, it just kind of causes Horn Rhino to lose a lot of stamina, which is strange because you'd think the spike bit would be good for retaining spin, but Horn Rhino just is not that aerodynamic in a way where it can keep spin well. So yeah, Bear Scratch takes the first session with a score of 5 to 3. I'm actually surprised Horn Rhino gained any points that round. I don't know what I'm doing with Horn Rhino or Bear Scratch there. So here we're in the Xtreme Stadium. I expect that the battles will be a little better here due to the fact that we will be seeing a little more forced contact between the two bays. So with the stadium change, a rule change has happened, being that now if you go over the top, it is a redo. Extreme finishes are now possible, so stamina outs are only a singular point, whereas knockouts in these upper two pits are 2 points. Burst finishes are also 2 points still, but getting knocked into the extreme pocket will actually provide... Getting knocked into the extreme pocket will actually provide 3 points. There's also a red stain on here from, I'm assuming, Phoenix Wing. From one of the battles I used. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Bear Scratch just not bad. Bear Scratch even hitting Horn Rhino so hard it knocked itself off balance by being tilted downwards. But Bear Scratch does take the first point from Rhino Horn with a score of 1-0. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Ooh, a swift knockout from Bear Scratch there. That puts the score at Bear Scratch 3 to Horn Rhino's 0. Horn Rhino is not looking good. If Bear Scratch just gets one more of those, it'll win. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Not sugarcoating it again. Bear Scratch gets a survivor finish point, putting the score at Bear Scratch 4 to Horn Rhino 0. Bear Scratch just needs to win one more time. So Horn Rhino, if you got any tricks up your sleeves, now's the chance to go. Ooh, that was almost an extreme finish there. Ooh, but Horn Rhino actually knocks it back and takes the score up to 3 for itself, putting the score at 4 for Bear Scratch and 3 for Horn Rhino. Horn Rhino is known to do that, to defend and cause an extreme finish. It's very peculiar. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. And Horn Rhino loses by knockout, putting the final score at, like, what is that? 6-4 or 6-3. So Bear Scratch still wins by double the points. And honestly, that battle surprised me a little bit. I was not expecting Horn Rhino to get an extreme finish out of any bay I'm going to battle as a part of this Battle Fest. It is the least. It is the one I expected the least. Anyway, next up, we're taking it to Bear Scratch's home turf here, being the Double Extreme Stadium. The Double Extreme Stadium has a second extreme line in the center that gets oscillated by a motor. So the plate in the middle actually moves up and down, meaning that the motor in it will cause the extreme line to become more exposed and less exposed. And while Horn Rhino isn't going to be winning the total match count, we can see if it can even get a single win in terms of round. But I highly doubt it'll get anything here. Bear Scratch using its 560 ratchet there to actually scrape against the stadium and not lose a whole ton of stamina. The score is Bear Scratch 1 to Horn Rhino 0. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 3, 2, 1, go shoot. Ooh, Bear Scratch went into the particle accelerator there, getting a knockout, netting it 2 more points, putting the score at 3-0. Will it be a clean sweep for Bear Scratch? Who knows? Dude, you wanna go shoot? Dude, you wanna go shoot? 3, 2, 1, go shoot. 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 3, 2, 1, Careful, Bear Scratch, you'll get bursted doing stuff like that. Bear Scratch takes the point again with a survivor finish, putting its score up to 4, and Horn Rhino's at 0. Horn Rhino only has probably one more chance to even get a point. And Bear Scratch takes it as a clean sweep. About what I expected out of any of the Bay matchups for today was that. Honestly, Bear Scratch is just way better than Horn Rhino in their stock parts. So here we have our victor, Bear Scratch. Honestly, that was a pretty entertaining battle still, even if it was just watching Horn Rhino get bodied. Horn Rhino just isn't good as a defense type, but I definitely think the layer has some good attack capabilities. I've even seen some people exploring more on Twitter. So, you know, I encourage you to do some combo building with Horn Rhino and make either a balance or attack type with it. It's not super good at stamina, and it's not a very good defense type either. I mean, you could probably find something where you can put it on, like, I don't know, Gear Ball maybe, and find some success using all of its capabilities. But yeah, anyway, that's it for that battle. If you enjoyed that battle, let me know. If you think I fudged the calls a little bit, let me know. There's definitely a few early on where Horn Rhino just kind of has some weird life after death stuff with it sometimes. Where I just kind of can't tell. That's kind of how 380 works. It's got weird amounts of life after death. So sometimes I literally can't tell. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Battle Fest.